Today's Monday, July 23rd, 2018, and welcome to the Music Business Blitz.
What up, folks? I hope you had a fantastic weekend and that it treated you well. I personally got a chance to check out a few hit places around Los Angeles, really cool music venues, and met some really awesome people. So I will put this weekend in the win column. And talking about a win, let's go ahead and jump into some new music business industry topics.
Need help selecting the right music festival?
I know I personally do. There is so many music festivals these days. It is no shocker that we are in the day and age of the music festival. Now, a decade ago, there were only a handful of festivals that gained our attention, but since streaming music services like Spotify and Apple Music have showed up to the dance to provide listeners with personalized tunes, coupled with aggressive festival ticket pricing and cheaper lodging options, thanks Airbnb, there seems to be a new festival popping up every other week. And with that, we obviously have sensory overload, right? So many different music festivals, and that typically results in most music fans not knowing where to start when it comes to selecting a festival that will house their favorite artists. Well, fear no more, friends, because Spotify recently teamed up with FestTicket to create a service called Festival Finder. And yeah, I could probably hear you saying out there, man, Festival Finder, that's a pretty cool name. What does that actually do? Well, if you took a guess, you're probably right. Probably got it right on the first try. It's a service where you link up your Spotify account, it does its magic, and then it suggests to you 10 up-and-coming festivals that you might be interested in based off your listening history. And if that wasn't cool enough, the service also allows you to purchase tickets through it and allows you to book travel arrangements. So if this sounds like it's something interesting to you, then you can go to festticket.com/festival-finder to sign up for the service. Again, that's festticket, festticket.com/festival-finder.
How Brexit may impact independent artists.
Now, I'm sure that we've all heard of Brexit, right? It is a super catchy name. And if you haven't heard of it or you forgot what it was, essentially at its core, it's the impending withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union. Now, I know that we're all busy, and this is happening in a faraway land if you are US based, so you're probably not read up on much of it aside from what you've heard on the news or on social media, and it's been happening for a while, so you probably kind of fell to the back of your mind. Well, it's time to bring it to the forefront, guys, because with any major economic shift in a large country in some way, shape, or form, you can bet that eventually you will feel the impact indirectly. And so I'm here today to tell you what this may look like if you're a musician, because Beggars Group has definitely been thinking about this. Now, if you're not familiar with Beggars Group, they are a British record company that owns and distributes several other labels like 4AD, Matador Records, XL Recordings, and so it's easy to tell that these guys are a big deal. Well, their CEO recently released a statement indicating that, quote, revenues from the EU are a critical element of the business. Therefore, it is of some concern that the arrival of Brexit may hold back further growth. Now, Beggars Group addressed specific concerns around local musicians, labels, trade bodies, and other organizations that are going to have to deal with new tariffs, duties, and tax withholdings on royalty payments, which translates mainly to lost or significantly delayed revenue and a lot of extra paperwork for British acts and labels. So I hear you're probably going, dude, that is terrible news for UK and British acts, but how does that affect us US-based artists? Well, for one, touring in the UK is going to be a lot more of a hassle because now you're going to need to apply for additional visas, get additional insurance, and have to deal with additional tax levies. And going over and touring Europe for your first time is already difficult in the first place, so here is an extra roadblock. And on top of that, how do you think you are going to supplement these additional costs? Well, you're probably going to need to pass them down to the concert goer, which means increased ticket pricing and merch prices. So will this largely impact major label artists? No, it probably won't in the long run, but it will surely affect independent artists who work on a very, very limited budget. And although we obviously won't know the full impact of Brexit until the time comes, let's start to plan accordingly.
Less than 1 in every 10,000 people bought Drake's new album.
So we've talked about how Drake's new album Scorpion has demolished all streaming records on both Spotify and Apple Music, which is great news if you're Drake, if you are an all streaming music consumer, or if you work in the music industry, because we are obviously seeing significant growth in revenue from streaming fronts. Now on the flip side, if you're a music lover like myself who likes to own music, then this is the beginning of the end. Music Business Worldwide recently ran some numbers, and apparently 99.991% of the population of the US did not buy last week's #1 album on the Billboard 200, which was obviously Drake's new album Scorpion. Furthermore, that album has only sold about 29,000 copies in the last chart sales week ending on July 12th. So let's take a quick look at some first week sales numbers here for comparison. 2017, Taylor Swift sold 1.2 million copies of her album Reputation. 2015, Adele sold 3.38 million copies. I think that was like a record of her album 25. And in 2011, Lady Gaga sold 1.1 million copies of Born This Way. So in comparison, 1.1 million to 29,000, that's just sad. That's just sad. But, I mean, technology, we got to adapt to it, and that's how the music industry is adapting. So at least we got something in place, right? All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. We will catch back up with you tomorrow.